Hi everyone, I'm Sonia Bird and I'm recording this presentation from the unceded territories of the Lekwungen and the Tsimshian speaking peoples, also on behalf of my co-author, Phil Howson. Our talk focuses on Hul'qumi'num, a Coast Salish language spoken on Vancouver Island. Hul'qumi'num has a rich set of consonants. Our focus here is on the four cardinal fricatives, S, theta, esh, and the lateral fricative, shla. We're interested in how L1 and L2 speakers maintain contrasts among these sounds, given how crowded their acoustic space is. Our study is based on existing recordings from 3 learners and 2 mother tongue speakers. From these recordings, we extracted multiple tokens of the 4 cardinal fricatives, and we measured spectral moments over the duration of each token. We used GAMs to quantify center of gravity trajectories throughout the consonants. We also used principal component analyses to see how spectral moments combined to create each speaker's acoustic space. This first figure shows center of gravity trajectories for mother tongue speakers. Based on the literature, we predicted that S would have the highest center of gravity, followed by theta, and then esh and shla. Ruby on the left matches this prediction. Dolores doesn't quite, primarily because her theta had a very high center of gravity. Theta is known to vary across dialects of Hul'qumi'num. What we found was that Ruby's theta had COG values in keeping with an interdental sound, more similar to English, whereas Dolores had values in keeping with a dental sound, so a fronted S. This was expected based on their dialectal backgrounds. So here we have COG plots for L2 speakers, in 2016 on the top, 2019 on the bottom. The main takeaway here is that there's no clear movement from a less L1-like to a more L1-like pattern for any of the speakers. Possibly this is because there's actually no single L1 pattern that could serve as a model to aim for. One thing to note is that only one learner at the right of the graph might be moving towards the more dental TH, like Dolores's. Here we have PCA plots for Ruby on the left and Dolores on the right. So these are abstractions, but they can be taken to roughly represent acoustic space. Of note here is that shla is more similar to theta for Ruby, but it's more similar to esh for Dolores, who, as we saw before, has quite a distinct theta sound. When we look at the PCA plots for the learners, they start off with shla and sha being most similar in 2016. This is similar to Dolores and also matches our impression that shla often gets mispronounced as something close to an esh by beginners. By 2019, though, shla is more distinct from esh, which we think is a sign of improvement. Instead, shla is more similar to theta, similar to Ruby, and also possibly reflective of English transfer. So summarizing, we found a fair amount of variation across both L1 and L2 speakers in how acoustic parameters were combined to maintain contrasts among cardinal fricatives. In terms of theta, only one L2 speaker seems to be moving towards the less English-like dental version. So it'll be interesting to see whether the dialectal variation that currently exists for Hul'qumi'num is maintained among new speakers. Thank you so much.